I forgot to add me to the podcast. Welcome to the Figure Gore. Today is our special Halloween edition. First, I would like to introduce the Macho Man. Jamie, how are you?
I'm good. Oh, yeah. I can't imitate Macho Man. That's my best.
That's a good one. That's a good one, though.
I
And
try.
then we have Pondo, but I don't know what Pondo is yet, so let's take a look. No.
Ooh,
That's
Sergeant
right, Maggot. That's right, Maggot.
And you got a mustache, too.
Yeah, mine's not bugging the shit out of me like yours.
Yeah, I had to remove the beard. It was bugging me.
I didn't get mine made from beaver hair, so take that.
Yes. This is a highly Canadian product.
That's right. And finally, our guest tonight, John Cosper. He's dressed as a serial killer. They all look.
Listen. Did this give you any clues here?
No,
You got the hat, you got the shirt.
Oh, no.
we're three wrestlers.
I need the fitted hat instead of the one. It's hey, at least it's New Japan, right? So
Man, no problem.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's excellent. Okay, I'm going to take this off so I can talk normal.
So for those who don't know John Cosper, he is an author, pro wrestling enthusiast, horror enthusiast, pro wrestling historian. He's written wrestling books, including Pondo's autobiography, and he's written some fiction. Yeah, there's Pondo's book.
There we go.
And he has just released Dead Park Plaza, just in time for Halloween and also for the holidays. You got some people who like scary stories on their list. This is an anthology about nothing scarier than working in an office.
Nothing scarier. Nothing.
Right?
So I was going to talk to John a bit about the book. I know Pondo Sarge is very anxious to talk about Halloween Kills.
That's right.
Promise.
Sarge.
We will get there. We've been waiting on Halloween Kills because COVID delayed the opening of that one. But John, can you tell us a little bit about the book, Dead Park Plaza, and how you came up with the idea?
Sure. It is, as you said, is a compilation of stories all about horror in the office, in the workplace. It really kind of came about. Actually, it was over the summer. I realized I had these 3 different stories that all took place in an office and all had some sort of a horror angle. So I thought, well, maybe I can look at the different stories and put together a trilogy. And as I was going through my files looking for one of the stories, the one that I'd actually written anything down on, I found 2 more, and then more and more ideas started kind of coming together, and it ended up being this creating this whole little kind of mini horror universe where you have this office park that was built on the remains of what used to be a military base, where goodness knows what happened. And over the 30 years the building had been, in operation as an ordinary office park, all these strange things and different stories had happened. And one of the stories was originally a screenplay idea. Another one was just kind of a joke that I had about doing a parody of Lord of the Flies called Lord of the Files, where the boss dies first thing in the morning, and the whole office goes tribal. And then the third story that was kind of part of that original trilogy was an idea that my dad had texted me one morning. He woke and said, "Hey, I had this dream last night. What if this guy gets this job?" And he first day at work, he fires up the printer and something prints off, and it's the person who had the job before him and says, "You're in grave danger. You don't know what you're doing here." So, kind of from those 3 stories, the whole thing kind of grew out and expanded.
Yeah, as I said, I really liked Lord of the Files, not to be confused with Lord of the Flies, although there's some similarities in there. I also like The Stall, and I really liked Executive Dining, but the whole book is really fun, really creepy read, so I really recommend it. So I have to naturally ask, John, if you've worked in an office setting, and if so, did anything horrific happen?
Nothing to the extent what happens in the book. I mean, pretty much the same as anybody else. You got the, I've seen the crazy office politics. I've had the good bosses. I've had the horrific bosses. Be honest with you, my daughter's a big fan of The Office. And one day she said, Dad, which character from The Office are you? I said, oh, I'm Stanley. I go in there and 5 o'clock, it's goodbye. I don't pay any attention. There was a whole first real office, I'd say your office job I had downtown Louisville in a high rise and everything. There was a whole thing that happened where, the boss was sleeping with this person and put through some rotten deal and got this person fired and framed them for it. His boss covered for it. This whole, it's like, they call us all in one day and they're like, yeah, your boss is moving out and this sales rep is going with him and this and that and everything. And I was like, oh, okay. And one of the guys like, you have no idea what's going on, do you? I'm like, no. So he took me out to lunch and wised me up to what happened. So, but I mean, it didn't certainly nothing to that extent, thankfully. But I mean, I'm a creative writer. I've been writing drama, I've been writing fiction, I've been writing all kinds of stuff long before I was writing about wrestling. And, when you're sitting bored in a cubicle, the mind starts to reel and you start to think, well, what about this? What about that? And, and just these ideas start coming together and different things come from different places.
So I want to open this up to John and everybody else here too. What makes a good horror story? Like, what are some good elements in a horror story? This is for everybody. Don't all answer at once.
Myself, I like humor, and that's just because I'm a comedy guy. I like elements of humor. I like elements of creativity, to be surprised and things like that. I was actually talking with my daughter's friend in the car the other night on the way back from hockey practice. My daughter's playing hockey, Canadians, by the way, which is kind of fun. Nice. But she hasn't seen it, but her friend has seen Fear Street, and we started talking about. I don't know if you guys have seen the Netflix series. I absolutely loved it, and we were talking about creative deaths and everything. And I'm just like, hey, Savannah, bread slicer? And she's like, yes. Yeah. So, to me, I like
bread slicer the same way again.
Yeah. I actually heard an indie filmmaker once. He's like, yeah, I had this idea to do a film about an Amish serial killer. And one of the deaths would have been him running over somebody with a horse and buggy. But running over them with a horse and buggy once isn't going to be good enough. So it's just him slowly doing figure eights in the middle of a field, running over this guy over and over, and just dragging it out.
There
to me,
you go,
that just sounded like so much fun.
On your films.
Actually, there is a character like that, and there's a film coming.
Oh, very nice.
I can tell you more after we get off the air.
Yeah. Well, feel free to borrow that because I think it would be hilarious. I'd love to see it.
Even in a horror comedy, that would work.
What about you, Pondo? Or Sarge Pondo? What do you think makes horror?
Man, I'm old school, so you got to have that naked chick that gets killed. You got to have. I mean, I see Jamie shaking her head, but tell me that's not true.
That's not why I watch movies, but to each their own.
Well, I mean, occasionally some 70s Bush, something. But then there's always the element of I hate ghost stories.
Oh, and I like that.
Well, I don't like the everybody jump scare, from Ghost Hunters. Say that TV show Ghost Hunters. There's a family sitting on the couch and finally one of them guys goes, "Oh my God, what was that?" And then everybody jumps and they're like, "Oh man, I could have swore I saw the door shut," or some shit like that. That's what ghost story movies are to me. But there's one coming out. It's called The Black Phone, where a serial killer steals a child, but all the other kids that he kidnapped helps. There's one phone in this room that this kid is locked in, and these ghost kids are calling the kid that's alive to get him out. I think that one looks good.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that one. That looks good.
That one's based, is it not, on Joe Hill's short story from 21st Century Ghost? He's a author. He's also the son of Stephen King, but Joe Hill has written. He did Lock and Key. He did 21st Century Ghosts, and yeah, I think that Black Phone story is in there.
I liked who we got? Greg.
Greg said, "Hey, everyone."
Poltergeist. I liked 13 Ghosts, but
yeah,
I don't know that the ghost story of today. That Insidious and Conjuring. I'm not Annabelle. I'm not about them damn things.
See, to me, scared of ghosts, so like that terrifies me, the thought of ghosts. So that's why I like ghosts and horror.
But that's the beautiful thing about horror. You look at all the subgenres there is, and there is a little bit of something for everyone, because you have your comedy horrors, you have your ghost horrors, you have your gore horrors, you know, your sci-fi horrors.
It's kind of like wrestling. There's always something for everybody. Yeah.
So Pondo mentioned 13 Ghosts. I'm actually a fan of both versions. I am a huge William Castle fan. House on Haunted Hill, The Tingler, Mr. Sardonicus. When my kids were real little, I've got a great picture of them. I actually put on the original 13 Ghosts. When it starts off with William Castle talking about the ghost viewer, and they're like, "Pause the movie, Dad." They go run and they get their sunglasses. So anytime a ghost comes on, they put their sunglasses on, everything, which was great. But I'll tell you, House on Haunted Hill is my favorite, and I hated the remake with Jeffrey Rush. I thought it was awful, but the remake of 13 Ghosts was so much fun.
Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
It's a pitiful thing that a lot of people doesn't know that 13 Ghosts is a remake, or House on Haunted Hill is a remake. You know, I'll say those names talking about the old black and white ones, and then people start explaining what happened in the new ones. I'm like, no, not that shit. About the good ones, you know.
Yeah, one of the things one of my favorite, really one of the first, horror movies I got into was Blair Witch, and part of the attraction for me with that was the way they marketed it, with putting it out there as a documentary at first and having the actors lay low and everything. And to me, looking back on that, I just reshared a story about it the other day, but it hit me, a year or so ago. I was like, this is what William Castle would have done in the age of the internet. He would have totally grabbed onto this, and if he didn't do it, he would have loved it. I mean, it's in that tradition, that vein.
Rob, what about you? Oh, sorry, Sarge. Go ahead.
I have a kind of a cool story that's on the lines of that. So I saw the Blair Witch Project, and yes, everybody in the theater was like, before they even knew the facts, they was like, yeah, that's a true story. Shut the fuck up. But anyway, this was the this is how I kind of knew. So there's a movie in Japan called Audition. Have you all three saw Audition?
Yes.
No.
No? Okay. So Audition set a record in Japan because it was number 1 in the theater for the first week, and then it was number 1 in its third week. And I'll tell you how they did that. And I'm kind of spoiling it, but you'll understand when I'm done. They made the trailer look like it was a love story, and you can see how that could happen, right, Jamie?
Oh yeah.
So all the lovers went and watched Audition.
Nice. Oh,
and
no.
Then by the end of the movie, it is so fucking graphic that a lot of the lovers jumped out of the theater and got the hell out. Well,
and then they broke up.
Yeah, it took 2 weeks for that to get out. But then Audition in its third week went to number 1, because then all the horror movie fans in Japan was like, oh shit, that's what goes on in this movie. So very smart thinking, I think. Very smart. Yeah. And that's what reminds me of not telling people that the Blair Witch wasn't a documentary.
Yeah.
But that was fun about Blair Witch. And the other one that I think of like that is Paranormal Activity. Because that was
this shit.
But it did gangbusters on word of mouth advertising only.
And it's one of the top grossing horror films ever, especially independent.
It has to be, because they only spent $1.50 on the budget.
Yeah.
So that much?
They made was fruit, yeah.
It's interesting to me how many franchises have come out of independence productions with horror. I mean, Blair Witch was an indie. Paranormal Activity. Pondo, you'd be proud of me. I actually watched the first Friday the 13th for the first time last night.
Can you guys believe he hasn't watched
I know I haven't. The only other one I'd seen was Jason X, which I enjoyed for the campiness. But I guess I loved the whole first person point of view thing with the killer all the way through Friday the 13th. I thought was wonderful. I love the charm of it. And just to think, this again, something trying to capitalize on Halloween, obviously, but it was fun. It was really interesting to see where that all started, and to see that the charm of an indie film and what essentially kicked off that franchise.
Okay,
There's
Rob. So what do you think makes a good horror movie?
What do
Before
I
we
think?
interrupt.
Yeah.
I think whether it's horror, like ghost horror or gore or whatever, there has to be suspense.
Yeah.
And the more suspense you can create, the better that horror movie will be. Like, regardless of spirits or axes, it's the amount of suspense that you can create.
Mm-hmm.
The last movie that I jumped at was Seven.
Oh,
Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, because when they had all the air fresheners and they walked up on that dude that was
guys?
dead, yeah, and then he jumped. I'm not gonna lie, that was my big jump of my life. But
I had to
other
go
than
change
that-
my pants too, Pondo. Don't worry. That
So
is an iconic scene.
yeah.
It is.
so I wanted to bring up the fact that, John, you've kind of done a bit of horror films, some mini horror films, I think, and you and Rob got to collaborate a bit. I know Rob's in one of them. There's quite a few of them. So if you can tell me a bit about that project and also how people can access it, because it's really fun. I've watched all of them.
Yeah, actually, it was during lockdown last year. My son and I, we started going and playing tennis every Saturday morning. We started kicking around ideas, what we called the world's shortest horror films. I mean, the reality of a lot of situations in horror films, and they play on, I think it's the Geico commercial, like, should we run over to the car and drive away? Should we go? No, let's go hide inside that barn with no escape behind the chainsaws. Just the poor decisions people make in horror films. And if they only just didn't do those things, like, it's like, look, okay, this thing says we should not disturb the tomb of the mummy. So we just left the tomb of the mummy where it was and we went home, that kind of a thing. And we just kept kicking out more and more ideas. We had a couple of mummy stories. We had vampires. We had Frankenstein. There we go. Yeah, there's my YouTube channel. And is the Wolfman up top? Let's say if the Wolfman's up top, that's my actually click on videos. You can probably find the Wolfman. But and we did put together a compilation version of them.
There's Rob in there.
Yep. There's Rob.
Yep, there I am.
Rob is in our King Kong short.
That one's all story.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all story.
Pondo's not into story horror.
There's no jump scares because everybody thinks twice and like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. So
There's where you go to watch these, and what's the longest one? Is like 2 minutes.
Oh no, the longest world's shortest horror is maybe 20-30 seconds.
Really? Yeah, they're all short.
Yep.
26, 49, 31.
Yeah. Oh no, there's a couple of them that are a minute long. Looks like Jekyll's a minute long.
Oh wait, you've got a mega mix here too.
I do. Yep.
So
that's all of them put together, because that's how I think I watched it. Yeah.
Yep.
Guys.
Yep.
And look at all of them put together, and I'm on the front. That is awesome.
Well, that sells. That sells it.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you got to put your star out front.
I'm down with that.
Yep.
But those are a blast.
Thank you. Yeah, so several years ago, I did a trilogy of short films called Fluffy, and it was about a cute and fuzzy alien from outer space. And I just saw Friday the 13th last night. Had never seen them didn't know they did the first person point of view thing, but I did it back in the day because A, I didn't want to bother creating an alien puppet, and B, the thing about it's particularly I like the old radio dramas and like the old HGOL's War of the Worlds, and the monsters you create in your head are far more terrifying than anything. Somebody puts it on a screen, then you've got an image and whatever, something you can codify. But if it's what you create in your head is always scarier. So for me, creating a comedy, I'm like, well, what you're going to create in your head of this cute and fuzzy alien that's chasing people around and you're seeing from its point of view is going to be way funnier than anything I can make. So we did that way, and then actually after I had my kids and decided, well, I can't go running around shooting films every weekend with actors, so I started picking up puppets. I found a zombie puppet called Clive the Zombie, and made a number of short films with him as well. They're all up there on the YouTube channel, along with the world's shortest horror films.
Is Clive here to make an appearance?
Clive is actually in a Rubbermaid tub about 15 feet away. Pondo met him a few weeks ago at Fright Night, so he scored with a few of the ladies. Ooh. The ladies loved him. The horror moms seem to love Clive. I mean, every horror mom stopped by. And, I don't know if you. Now it was Saturday. You weren't there, Pondo. My favorite family that came by. There was the mom and the daughter, who had the horror shirts and everything. They actually stopped and they all oohed and awed over Clive, and they were there with the husband and the son who were in their Ohio State jerseys. Who clearly they lost the battle on who was picking what to do that Saturday afternoon. So,
Yep.
I got to meet Ginger Lynn. I sent Robert some pictures. I don't know if he downloaded it or not, but
Let's see.
as I walked up to her, she said,
That doesn't look like Ginger Lynn.
That's not Ginger Lynn. That's Alex Vincent. Yeah.
That's okay,
Alex
Robin.
Vincent. He took a picture with John too, but we brought him in for a wrestling show and we called it No More Child's Play. And I was walking around and next thing I hear, somebody says, "Hey, Pondo," and I turn around and it's Alex Vincent. So that's always cool to me. And then
Where's he from?
Shit, I don't know. Okay. Wherever Chucky's from, I don't know. But I told John Cosper while Alex was sitting there, I was like, I can't believe he remembered me. And Alex like, I don't get hit in the head as much as you do. I remember you.
Yeah. Well, that was cool because you were like, he probably doesn't remember me. And he came and he found you, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool of him. Yep. And Tyler Main was there, and Scout Taylor's. Yeah, there he is. There's Taylor Main. And then when you put the next picture on, I'll read it, and then I'll get her name right. Scout Tyler Compton was there.
Oh, from the Rob Zombie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. She wouldn't take that mask off for a picture, though. And then some of the... I have pictures with... there's
yeah.
See, when I was young, man, that's why my right arm is bigger than my left, right there. And
you guys need to read more, not just porn. Read more.
Well, if you read the back of porn boxes, that's reading. That's reading.
Oh, okay.
But as I'm walking up to Ginger Lynn, she's like, "Now you know you got to hug me," and I said, "Is that all my options?"
Well,
hey, Rob, can you real quick? Can you throw that one of Alex Vincent back up there? There we go. Behind hit them on the wall there is that's the axe from The Shining.
Oh.
These guys, I'll just shout out to these guys. I had a great time with them all weekend. Carnivorous Creations. They're on Facebook, and they had some of the coolest displays. They had a plaque. Well, they've got that plaque with The Shining. They had one of American Psycho that had the Huey Lewis and the News album along with an axe. They had a number of different ones with Halloween and everything with the bloodstained knives. In fact, I think Scout Taylor Compton bought one from the Rob Zombie Halloween, and that American Psycho one, as soon as he sold one, he'd put one together, hang it up, and he'd sell the next one too. So they just do really, really cool stuff. If anyone wants to check out their Facebook.
They had Seymour from Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh yeah, they had the Audrey too. Yeah,
but they would have them in the little Maxwell coffee can cup.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is cool. Well, I'm going to give you one of my movies with this guy on the screen.
All right, we're ready. Let's see these three. Let's see if I've seen them or not.
Change the... Why is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. This is the first one called Compound Fracture.
Never heard of it.
This is one of Tyler Main's first films on his own production company. It's got Tyler Main, Derek Mears, and Muse Watson from NCIS.
Okay. 2 Jasons in it.
Right. This came out about 5 years ago when I first met Tyler. This was the movie that we were helping him promote.
So what's it about?
This is about a family that has a history. And when he goes home, his dad is Muse Watson. Tyler Main goes home. He comes across the reason for the history in their family. That's all I can really say without giving away some plot. But
there you go.
That is one. The second one, if you like The Thing,
I love The Thing.
Who doesn't? Yeah.
Black Mountainside.
Ooh.
Never heard of that one either.
Yes. This is about an Indian legend that isn't quite a legend that they find up in a mountain.
Is that a Bigfoot on the cover?
No, that's one of the.
That's what these was. Okay, they look kind of furry.
No,
So.
that piece of shit was the last episode of the Figure Gore.
That's why I'm like, Pondo's very sensitive about Bigfoots in movies, so we had to.
No, just that one.
Okay.
Oh my god! I wish I could show the world that where everybody could throw rocks at the screen.
The third one, because I actually have a bonus one too.
Ooh.
The third one is one of my favorites. I actually got to help record the table read before this was filmed. And then watching it on film was even better. It's called I'll Take Your Dead.
Ooh.
I've never heard of that.
Now, Pondo, I don't know if you'll like it because it's a lot of ghost stuff.
I hate it.
But this reminds me a lot of Sixth Sense, because it's about a father and daughter, a father trying to get enough money to get out of the area they're in to go to a new area. And unfortunately, the job he has is disposing of bodies for criminals. And it is really good. Like I said, it's a great story. I need it like that, with a lot of horror elements.
I wouldn't expect anything less than a great story.
Well, then you're not going to like this one, because I don't think there's a story to this one.
Oh, then I would love it.
You'll love it.
I got this on a whim because one of my friends works for Raven Banner. It's a distribution company up here. And they had this one called Bunny the Thing.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
And this is the X-rated pussy edition.
Oh, my God.
Well, you know what? I'm
Pondo, you got to have that one.
already.
Pondo's already ordering it.
As you
Yeah,
noted,
that's in his Christmas list.
there's a little something sticking out under the word killer. And that is exactly what you think it is.
I just saw that.
Oh, geez.
I mean, anything that has a pussy edition, let's roll. Let's go.
This is a Swedish film, and I got to tell you, it is filmed beautifully, because there's nothing more mesmerizing than seeing a mountainscape with a person running away bleeding and a giant rabbit chasing him. That's what you get with this.
That's where they got the idea for Out of Africa, right? I mean, you know.
Gotta be. It's gotta be. There you go, Pondo.
4 of them. 4 I've never heard of, and I knew that you would get the job done and pull those out of your ass that I've never seen. And
Dude,
now I know there's a pussy edition of Bunny, so I'm gonna have to try and catch that.
you know me. I'm here if you ever need a hand. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
I've been holding
Hell
on to
yeah.
this the whole show for that.
finally got to use it.
Scary how it wiggles like that, right? It's
Hey,
the funny thing on this. It was actually molded after a buddy's hand for one of our short films, but it's molded in such a way that I constantly tease him and go, if I'm home alone with this, technically
Yeah.
that's you.
tell your buddy you're gonna send that to me, and I'm gonna use it just as much as I can.
The fingers fell off. What happened?
I need that to watch the pussy edition of Bunny.
Right.
So Pondo's going to definitely be reviewing that, people, on a future episode, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
please. That would be awesome. Now,
So, you guys all saw. I don't know if John did, but I know Jamie and Robert did. I was looking for that movie Hunters
yeah.
because
Yeah,
I
I
had
haven't seen that one yet.
yeah. Well,
You're talking
trust
about
me.
it,
Yeah, trust me. If you thought probably the Greasy Strangler would be more entertaining than this.
yeah.
Not that it was. No. Not that it was a bad movie, but it was just like a soft porn rape movie. Not as good as the original I Spit on Your Grave.
That's a good movie. Even
Well,
I have
I
to
mean,
say that was a great movie.
These guys, I think the director was just some kind of fetish dude. So he put it on a film, Hunters, and somehow Lorena Quigley got in there. She's in there, but I don't know. I'm saving you guys an hour and 36 minutes. It's not the best thing I ever saw in my life. But,
After Greasy Strangler, I appreciate you telling us not to watch one.
well, John, have you seen The Greasy Strangler?
I have not seen the Grizzly Strangler.
No.
You better get on that. Don't listen to this bullshit artist up here. So, So Hunters, people were talking about it, and I had never even heard of it. Never even knew there was a movie called Hunters. So I started searching for it, and all I could get was this Al Pacino chasing Russians TV series, Blu-rays and DVDs, and
Oh
I knew
yeah,
that
yeah.
wasn't it. So I went to eBay. No, excuse me. I went to Amazon, and that's it. I went to
Yeah.
Amazon and I searched it, and this damn thing was $496. And I'm like, this must be the best movie I've never heard of in my damn life. And I don't know why. There was no trailer on YouTube. There was nothing. Just a Blu-ray cover, and thank God I watched it for free, because I'd be
Watched it for
kicking.
free and still wanted your money back.
I can't get my foot up that high, but I'd be kicking myself in the balls for that one if I'd have paid money on that.
Javier says, wrestling horror and Madman Pondo. What is this wizardry I'm seeing?
Right?
The perfect mixture.
Halloween, man. It's
Pondo
October.
in his natural element. You know, he, as long as I've known, he's always worn T-shirts of these obscure horror films, and he's like, "What is that?" He's happy to tell anybody about it. You know,
And he
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
about it.
and he
can
knows these
that.
obscure horror films. You know, so
He always
he's
says
a
he knows
connoisseur.
in the head, but he can recall things. Like, there's movies
Mhm.
I've seen a year ago and I don't remember, and Pondo
Mhm.
remembers everything.
My mom always said that, because I was, I would wake up, watch TV before I went to school, run home from school, watch TV, go to bed watching TV. But my mom always said that it's a shame that I can remember every line from every TV show, but I can't remember my damn homework.
Yep. I got the same thing for music. I can remember the lyrics from every song in the 80s, but I can't remember half the things I did yesterday.
Damn right.
Well, what's more useful? What's more useful?
The classic conversation between my wife and I a number of years ago, when I launched into the old Mars Blackman commercial. Michael Jordan has overcome the acceleration of gravity through the application of his muscle power into the vertical plane, thus producing a low altitude Earth orbit. And Jessica looks over me. She's like, "You can remember that whole thing from 20 years ago. You can't remember to turn the light out in the kitchen when you leave."
Well,
Yeah.
put a picture of Michael Jordan on the light switch.
I have learned to close the pantry door. So, you know, I mean, we're making progress. So.
That's right. Baby steps.
So
Pondo. Go ahead.
I wanted to talk to John about working with Pondo on his autobiography. What that was like, and how long have you guys known each other?
Oh, probably, let's see. I got my first book out in 2014, and I started going to Destination One shows and some other indie shows. That's where I met him, and interviewed him for my second book, Eat, Sleep, Wrestle. So it's been 7 years.
Was it Eat, Sleep, Wrestle, or was it the Bluegrass Brawlers? No,
it was
Eat, Sleep, Wrestle.
It was Eat, Sleep, Wrestle. Yeah. So I think Sarah ended up in Bluegrass Brawlers, but I actually met you guys. I know. But,
Talk about her.
roll back and delete that. But, yeah.
So John Cosper put me in that Eat, Sleep, Wrestle book, and I think I had 2 or 3 paragraphs in there. And then people started going to John Cosper and said, "Hey man, if you got Pondo to do 3 paragraphs, you need to ask him some of his stories and write a book about it." So John Cosper even came to me and said, "Hey, I want to write a book on you," and I was against it to begin with, because it's that whole Virgil thing. I don't want to go in Dollar Tree and see my book in there for half off and shit like that. I didn't think anybody wanted to know what I had to say. And then one day I was like, you know what? Hell with it. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's see what it's like to write a book. But then when I had agreed to it is the same time that he agreed to Dr. D. David Schultz's book. So it took us longer to write mine, because he would do 3 weeks of Dr. D, and then we would go to Denny's, and they would let us go in the section where it's for families or some shit like that, and close the door. So and now we're on part 2. We're writing a second Pondo book.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really procrastinating on it, and I apologize, John Cosper, but
That's all right. Now we'll get to it. No, I definitely. I mean, every time I saw him, after we went to dinner that first time and did that interview, and every time I saw him, he would pull me over. Hey, let me tell you this story. Hey, let me tell you this story. And I always told I did Kenny Boland's autobiography before I really started harping on Pondo to do one. And if you know anything about Kenny Starmaker Boland, with his stories, it's about 50 to 60% truth, and the rest is all made up and usually changes from time to time when he tells it to you. But Pondo's got stories that sound kind of like Kenny's, where it starts going on, you're like, he's making this up, and then Pondo pulls his phone out. Here's the photo, or he goes to YouTube. Here's the video. That's me. That's me, and that's Billy Corrigan. That's Marilyn Manson. We're putting the Vicks Vapor Rub in her eyes, and he's got the evidence. So, but I mean, the stories were great, and he's being modest about 3 paragraphs. There were more than 3 paragraphs from him, but specifically, there's a whole chapter that was in that book that was a night in Tennessee with Pondo, which is so Eat Sleep Wrestle's not available anymore, but Pondo's book is, and that whole chapter, we just put the whole thing in there. But that was a story Austin Bradley told me about a time their car broke down in the middle of nowhere in Tennessee. They ended up walking to a Walmart. Pondo's walking around Walmart with the saw bat trying to find a piece of luggage that he can get it in, and they're telling him, you got to leave the store with that. So, I mean, yeah, it's just, one thing I feel like you've got so many great stories. Let's get them down, and and people will read this, and it's still one of my best sellers.
And the cover is amazing. Like, that's just one of the most eye-catching, and it had to be a unique cover because it's Pondo's book. Mm-hmm. That's such an incredible cover.
Sayazawa, who designs a bunch of the deathmatch T-shirts for the deathmatch workers nowadays.
Okay.
He's getting big bucks to design these T-shirts for guys, but when he found out there was a book written about me, I think he got a hold of John Cosper and said, "Hey, can I please do the cover for it?"
Wow.
Yep.
So there it is.
Yeah, he was great to work with. He did Dr. D's as well, but yeah, what he did with Bond, it's a masterpiece. That's a beautiful cover. I love it.
Jamie, we have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
How many flying elbow drops has Macho King Jamie done today?
About 2 to try and get into these tight pants. This is man's large, and I don't know what kind of men wear these pants, but I have yellow wrestling boots, and my husband had to go, he works nights. I couldn't put the wrestling boots on, which is okay because you guys can't see, we're down.
That's
because
what I was getting ready to say. You put on.
So you put the pants on? Yes.
I
didn't put them on because I can't bend over in these pants.
That's dedication to the character.
We see you from tits up. Why you put on? Why
I'm a child. They're way down.
Pants? I'm in my underwear.
One of my son's costume ideas.
Yeah, I should have not worn the tight.
One of my son's costume ideas for this year is like he wants to have something to carry around like a screen. He's gonna have a shirt and tie up top, and then just pajamas down below, and be a guy on a Zoom call. So
that's excellent. Yes.
Yep.
Well, Pondo, you sent me a bunch of pictures, so I'm gonna start putting them up so you can start talking about them.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Here we go. Oh wait, that's an older one.
That he just had to see again.
An oldie but a goodie.
Right?
Finger slipped on the mouse there.
Oh, and that one too.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute.
That's James.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
So, I went to something called the Deathmatch Circus, and somehow me and this guy Mo Atlas, we stole the show. Like everybody keeps talking about how great this match was, but go to the next picture and you'll see it better. Ooh. And this is why, because if you see, his forehead is not only bleeding down, it is spurting out.
And, yeah, right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
As one does.
That was all from that butter knife that I
drops?
had.
That's a great photo. Like the catching the drops and stuff. Wow.
Yeah, I'm hoping they make a T-shirt of that.
That would be.
And then he took a cheese grater and thought that he would carve me up as well. No problem. It's another day at the office. I'm good with it. And then I won the match.
At the end.
So people were just they gave us a standing ovation. So I put a chair in the ring, picked him up, put him down in the chair and gave him his props, man, because it takes two to have a great match, and
Yeah.
everybody says that was a great match, so that was both of us.
Was that the first time you guys faced each other?
Yeah, first time. We maybe talked twice in our lifetime, but then I was supposed to wrestle a guy named Bam Sullivan, but his grandma come up ill, so he didn't come, and they put me in there with Mo Atlas, and I'm always worried about how brave the other guy's gonna be, but nah, man, there was no problem with Mo Atlas. He was really brave and didn't even flinch when I was saying let's do this and let's do that. I can't remember the other pictures that I sent, Robert. And yeah, this was night one. And that's Daphne. I was sitting in my house, which I do a lot, and people started writing on Facebook saying, "Oh my God, Daphne's saying crazy things on Facebook about suicide," and she was thinking about doing it. So right away, I went to her Facebook and I said, "Hey, call me if you need me. You know, I'm here. Talk to me." Which Daphne was one of the happiest chicks I've ever met in the wrestling business. So there was no way I would have thought that this was a serious thing. I mean, not that I didn't think it was a serious thing. I didn't think, I thought maybe she had a bad day and started talking about this. So I wrote her and I said, "Hey, I'm here. Call me." And I guess by the time I had wrote that, she had already done it. So I just want everybody out there to know. I know I joke a lot on this podcast a lot, but man, this is the times for people to be checking on their friends and families, and um, I know I go nuts sitting up in my room all by myself, so I can't imagine other people's feelings. But if you got time, if you got 3 seconds, write somebody and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Just to make sure they're doing all right. But yeah, that so night one of the circus, I did the Daphne tribute, and then at the end, I had the crowd chant "Daft, Daft, Daft." So sad thing, man. Sad thing.
But I'm glad you paid tribute to her. That's so important, and just sharing the message that when people are struggling with mental health, I know I've had some issues myself, and I've even shared them. We have a group chat with the show, and everybody right away was like, "You can call me." So, sometimes people feel they're a burden and don't want to reach out. So I'm glad Pondo's saying the message like it's okay. You can just talk to people, or even people if you yourself are not going through this, but just sending a random message to people like, "Hey, I was just thinking about you today," and stuff like that.
That is the biggest stigma,
It is. Yeah.
I know I felt it a couple times where you get to that point where you have all this weight on your shoulders. Yeah. The last thing you want to do is take that weight and stick it on somebody else's shoulders.
Yeah.
So you don't, and you wait and you do nothing. And that's the worst thing to do. So
well, that's where people mess up. If they realize they can get on Zoom and talk about the Greasy Strangler, they will forget all about suicide.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if that's the best movie to recommend to people struggling with depression, but I don't know what it might lead to. But
seriously, after watching that, how can you not think your life is amazing?
Yeah, did you watch it, Rob?
No, not yet.
Yeah, don't. And John, don't.
No. Bullshit artist. Watch it, guys. That's a bullshit artist right there. Just watch.
I'm trying to save you.
Okay, so I think this next one is Tyler. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyler, we got Scout. There we got Alex and Ginger.
Ginger's looking good, I gotta say.
And this is from Fright Night. I can't remember his name.
Oh.
Charlie from Fright Night. But I've taken a picture of a bunch of the cast and didn't have a picture with him yet. And he was right around the corner from me and John. So I went over there and took a picture with him. Man, am I fat. Look how fat I am.
Quick, change a picture.
Yes, you talked about this on the last episode. How did this go?
Told everybody I was going to go eat with Mick Foley and meet him and everything. Well, he is going to do the forward for my next book.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't get to eat with them, but we went to this place. I can't remember the name of it. And I ate a 1 pound burger.
Ooh.
But then I took a 1 pound shit. So I mean, the balance was there, man. But
to it.
In the previous photo, is that a picture of Mick and Terry Funk?
Yes, from King of the Death Matches. A buddy of mine, Corey Higdon, who has a website dedicated to all deathmatch workers t-shirts, deathmatchworldwide.com. This was his poster, and he's had it since he was like 10 years old. It's from Raw Magazine. Okay. And I told him, I said, hand it to me and I'll have Mick sign it. And it's double-sided. The other side is where they're on the ladder, and I had Mick sign both sides. So.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's cruel. How does he know what side to put up?
That way you could change it. You could.
Right.
No, you get a frame and put glass on both sides and hang it so it spins.
Or that, yes.
That's it.
And bump into it all.
Yep.
And this is me and my partner Duke the Nuke. My God, I'm fat. This is my partner, me and Duke the Nuke, and we wrestled Ricky Morton and his son Kerry Morton in West Virginia. This is
cool.
And then after this match, my buddy Michael Tawney, we call him Fat Tawn, who ran the Masters of Pain. John met him. He's a good dude. He is a manager at a movie theater, and he let me and Duke watch Venom. Here Comes the Carnage. After the theater was closed, it was just me and Duke in the theater. I love that shit.
Wicked.
Yeah. Duke is a great wrestler too. I really enjoy watching you guys. I need to come see you guys work heels some weekend, but no, he especially for a big guy, he moves really well, and just I really enjoy watching him.
So this guy here is my biggest fear of growing old.
How much did he charge you for that picture?
Not a cent, because as I was leaving, I was like, Virgil, let's take a picture, and he started saying, how much? And I said, cheese, and boom. Nah, he wasn't getting shit out of me.
Yeah.
Yes, people have asked me about this, so I'm glad you have this picture because people want to know more about this.
Yeah.
So the Rude Boy, I really didn't. So after Daphne, I put something on my page saying the same thing that I just said on here. Go and check on your loved ones, call a friend and all that. Well, people took that as I was going to off myself or something, and that wasn't the case at all. And the Rude Boy from Psychopathic Records, he got a hold of me, and he was talking to me, and me and him have kind of the same problems. And when he had a heart transplant, I went and worked on his benefit show, and he said, hey, I want to do a benefit show for you. And I'm like, I don't need a benefit, like I'm fine, and he said, well, let's do it this way, let's call it a tribute to Madman Pondo, and that's coming November 14th. And man, I've had a bunch of people write me about it, asking who to contact to where they could donate their time, and I'm hoping, whether I make a dime, I hope people just come out and have a good time, because that's what I'm all about, people having fun, and this looks fun.
Are you wrestling that night or that afternoon?
You know what? I don't know. I'm going to take my wrestling stuff, but who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Always got your gear. Yeah.
Yep. Always bring your gear, your Macho Man pants, no matter whether you're on a.
Well, if I wrestled in these, I don't think it'd be a good idea.
On a podcast where nobody's going to see your butt anyway, put them pants on. That's how.
I should have wear the pajama pants. That's what Pondo.
That's commitment.
I should have. Yeah.
And we have one last picture. I can't see what this one is. Oh yeah,
there you go.
Halloween timeline.
Because Pondo's been excited and been waiting for Halloween Kills, so I guess that's our transition.
Since before COVID, I was excited about Halloween Kills. John, did you see it?
I did watch it. Yeah.
Robert?
Oh yeah.
I liked it.
Y'all did.
We all four seen it. I liked it a lot. Like people are hating that Michael Myers is the new Jackie Chan, but I don't care, man. I thought that my favorite scene of the whole thing was when all the cops were bearing down on him, and he's just standing his ground, and Dr. Loomis is on the porch. I was sunk in then, but then they went even farther, and he come out of the fire and fought 5 firemen and shit like that. I thought the movie, yes, it did have some crazy parts that really didn't need to be in there, and I don't know about giving Halloween 3 a tribute, but it was in there anyway. But
yeah, it was.
So that was the masks on the dead bodies on the merry-go-round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I think I know what those are. Yeah.
The one that stands by itself there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one where
Did you guys know that the boy Loomis was practical effects, was not CGI?
Yes, I just saw that recently. Yeah,
I saw that posted on Facebook.
I assumed it was
that
CGI
dude's already
when I
doing conventions. He's at Monster Mania this weekend.
Yeah.
He looked like, I thought it was just like, how'd they do that? Because I was like, it's got to be CGI because that looks so much like him. I thought
it had been so long since I saw the first Halloween. It's like, is this from that movie? And I went and looked it up. And it's like, no, it's not.
No,
so
brand new scene.
Yeah.
You know what? Not to interrupt, but John, I know you watched Friday the 13th. Did you watch Friday the 13th Part 2?
I haven't watched that one. I've just watched the first one.
That's one of my favorite Jasons. Did you watch?
I'll definitely watch it. So I enjoy the first one.
13th, Jason's not really in that.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Well, that's not true. If you ask that Ari Leamy, he was the first Jason.
Well, of course, that's the name of his band, First Jason.
That's right. But up till 4. They're great. Like Part 3, you can tell that they did a lot of things to show 3D effects
3D.
and stuff like that.
I love that. I love that.
Jason in space. Jason in space is fun.
That's the other one that I've seen. And a friend of mine brought it. I was like, sure, put it on it. I just, for the cheese and the silliness and the face put into the cryo and then smash.
Yeah,
just like,
that's one of my favorites.
Hey, that's worth watching. So I enjoyed that one a lot.
I got
shoving two topless teenagers in a bag and swinging them up against a tree. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
But anyway, back to Halloween Kills. I just my brain rums, but
I got a question about that. Did they rewrite the end of Halloween? Because in this film, no, like the original 1978. They show police standing around him outside the house. That never happened.
Yeah.
At the end of Halloween, he fell out of the window, and then Loomis looked out, and he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Did they rewrite it?
I guess so. If you think about it, I you know what? Until you just said that, I didn't even think about that.
That was one of the things that bugged me when I was watching it, because they show that scene. It's like, when is this from? It didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like I got like Pondo and I did chat a little bit before this, but I was saying Michael looks evil in this movie, and he is vicious in this movie. Like the melted
lives up to Kills, Halloween Kills.
Yes,
Kills. Yeah,
that melted mask with the hair burnt. Especially the way they light it, just looks evil. It just
and he's a deathmatch star,
right?
Mm-hmm.
He used a light tube.
That was brilliant.
I thought of you, Pondo, when that scene when there's
a lot of people tell me that. Yeah, a lot of people say that. Pondo, I thought of you when he used that light tube.
Yeah.
It just this one, and see, don't get me wrong. Number one, like the 78, I adore. That is my jam. I love Halloween. The Halloween 2018 was good. It didn't blow me out of the water.
Yeah.
But it was good.
All
this one to me was a bit less. And
less than good?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was, like I said, there were some key moments in there that I went, wow, and wow, that's awesome, But when you sit back and look at the whole thing, there was just so many cheesy moments in it. Like you mentioned the one, Tommy Doyle, evil guys, what? No. Nobody runs around screaming this.
You can't.
Well, wait a second.
Wow.
I like the vigilantism put into this movie because if you think about it, I was telling Pondo about this before the show started. If these murders, a whole bunch of murders happen on one night, the town doesn't forget that. And this town is going to be affected by that. So I appreciated putting that part into the story. Like, yeah, it was a little bit hokey, but this town is going to be, Haddonfield is going to be affected by these murders. So these guys, and they're feeling pretty powerless about it. So I thought the vigilantism themes were quite natural to come in to this movie. And I've been it's usually just how Laurie has felt about this night and like in all the other sequels and everything. And here it was, let's talk to the rest of Haddonfield, I felt.
Well, they needed to pick somebody other than the nerd from Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Candles,
Anthony Michael Hall.
Okay, I got to tell you, Edward Scissorhands is one of my favorite films because Anthony Michael Hall dies in that film. I don't know what it is. I cannot stand Anthony Michael Hall. So
maybe that's just how good of an actor he is. He's annoying.
Maybe.
Or maybe not. I don't know.
Let's say an actress I was glad to see get FaceTime in this movie. I love Judy Greer, who played Karen. I've been a fan of hers since, I don't know if this is a deep cut on the comedy side. If you guys know the movie called The Specials.
No.
This was the movie that Joss Whedon took a copy into Kevin Feige's office at Marvel Studios and says, watch this and you will hire James Gunn to do Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
and the Specials are the 5th or 6th best superhero team in the world. And it's just kind of an oddball comedy from the late 90s. It was Rob Lowe, Thomas Hayden Church. Judy Greer played a girl called Deadly Girl. She could summon evil spirits. Jamie Kennedy's in it. Sean Gunn's in it. James Gunn is in it. He plays Minute Man, who can shrink down real small, and everybody calls him Minute Man. Thomas Hayden Church is the Great Strobe. He can shoot laser beams out of his arms, and it's fun movie. But from that movie on, I've always loved her. Love her in Archer. Yeah, and these days it seems like she gets cast. She's the mom, and she's in one scene like she was in Jurassic World, or she's the best friend character. But no, I love seeing her and getting to see her get more of a role. For once was really cool.
It's funny you said Archer because every time she would talk in Halloween Kills, I'd say sploosh. Sploosh.
That is one thing I have to commend to is the casting. I thought, other than Anthony Michael Hall, I thought the casting was nicely done. And that bothered me because they brought back the 3 people from the original except Tommy Doyle. And they stuck him in there.
What do you mean? Oh, you mean
recast the one part?
Lonnie wasn't the original guy, was he?
No, not Lonnie. I meant the little girl that was with Tommy Doyle.
The original actress, yeah.
Yeah, that one lady from the nurse in the car.
Yeah.
Those were the original people. So it's like, why not get Tommy? I know he did come back at one point for Resurrection, and that probably soured him.
It's like when they did the animated Jetsons movie, they brought back the whole cast except Tiffany. They recast the daughter as Tiffany, the pop singer, as the daughter, and where they're being a kerfuffle over that. So,
that's
so we can put her pop song in there and get a hit, and it wasn't exactly a hit. But
Tiffany wasn't doing a lot; she needed the work.
Hey, Tiffany did Playboy. She's okay.
This was during her 5 minutes of fame, before she was nobody, and then she came back and did Playboy. So it's yeah.
Something I wanted to mention about Halloween Kills that I just have to mention, just being Canadian. I don't know if Rob noticed this, but there is a kill scene, and the soundtrack, the song playing, is the Canadian icon Anne Murray's "Could I Have This Dance" playing on the record, and it's a ballad, and if you're Canadian, you know this song for sure. But I was like, that's Anne Murray, and I just thought that was just hysterical to have that song play in a kill scene. I don't want to spoil too much, but that was pretty funny, I thought.
Well, I liked that the Funhouse played, but they didn't even use a violent scene. They just used the guy and girl talking in the car. Did you realize that?
That's the fun part of these movies, is to see what's playing on TV.
Yeah.
Oh, I got so excited in Black Widow, when she's sitting and she's watching and she's reciting the words along with the movie Moonraker, which is my favorite Bond of all time. That was
Moonraker.
So he was like, okay, this movie just, I love Moonraker. No, yeah.
My
And
husband likes
I'm
that
not gonna tell you it's the best. I'm not gonna tell you Roger Moore's the best Bond, but my heart, I can watch Moonraker 100 times.
That's the only Bond I've seen. That's the only Bond.
Not so much Roger Moore, but Jaws. I can't remember his name.
Yes, that's a big reason. Yeah,
those are some good tea.
That explains why John likes Jason X now. That totally explains it. You put somebody in space, John's there.
There you go. No, and really, I mean, Moonraker is basically The Spy Who Loved Me. You just take submarines out, put space shuttles in.
Yep.
And Jaws is there.
Always add space. It's fun.
Yeah.
But no, I'm anxious for Halloween Ends because I want to see what they're going to do. The end of it felt a little anticlimactic too.
But it's the middle of a trilogy movie, so
right.
Yeah.
But
it had that Back to the Future 2 and the second Matrix movie kind of feel, where it was unfinished.
But it's one of the first ones he didn't die.
But it's not even that. It went from 0 to 60 in like 4 frames.
Yeah.
They're all kicking the crap out of him. And then it cuts to somebody talking, and then it comes back and he's killing everybody. It's like, what? Wait, whoa, what? Slow down. What changed? I blame that on the editing myself.
Oh, okay.
How did he make it back in the house to slice the shit out of Karen with all them cops and everything around? I mean,
that's what I mean. There were some plot holes.
Sometimes you have to turn your brain off for some of these movies, and I know it's hard for me too. I know.
Sometimes
I need to know everything. I'm a nosy person, but sometimes, like, I just watched it and I just enjoyed it. Like, I just was like, this is just. It's so great for me to. It's a Halloween movie. It's October, watch it at home, and I just So sometimes you got to turn the brain off, but I do get it. There's obvious questions and plot holes.
Well, I think they just need to figure out what Michael they're playing with.
Yeah.
Because right now, if you look at that timeline, to me, there's 2 Michaels. There's Rob Zombie's Halloween, which makes him a real person.
Yeah.
Right. And then if you go to me, Halloween 1, 2, and 4. Okay. That is my iconic story because it goes full circle with Danielle Harris at the end. But that shows him as this evil entity that can't be stopped. You can fire into him 900 times, he's going to keep coming. Whereas the Rob Zombie Michael would get fired at 6 or 7 times. He will die because he's a person.
Yeah.
This film, I don't think, has found their footing.
Put that timeline back up again real quick. So
Sure.
It's just crazy to me that it went from 1, 2, 7, 8. And then they left 4, 5, and 6 alone. And then for this new one, they left the other 2 alone and went straight into the other timeline. I don't know, but let's see, 1, 2. Okay, yeah. So
right down the middle is 1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
Right, and then the new one is up top because it comes off of 1, and then the new trilogy. But the other one goes 1, 2, and I guess that would be 7 and 8.
So yeah, you're totally right, Rob. Looking at this timeline, there was no standoff with the police with Dr. Loomis on the porch.
No,
not at all.
So that must be the end that they've created to have him be captured and put in that prison.
Well, when would that have happened though? Because that wouldn't happen because Dr. Loomis shot him off the balcony, and then he went to the hospital, and then he blew up in the hospital.
Oh, but that never happened in this trilogy.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is that happened in part 2.
Yep.
So that would the scene that you're talking about, you're right, would not have happened in this timeline of 1, 2, and then these last 3.
So my guess is he must have fallen off the balcony, disappeared, wandered around the front, and that's where the police were waiting, and they caught him. That's
but the movie went on after that. Yeah. The movie went on after that in part 2. He fell off the balcony, and then
there is no part 2 in this story.
In this new trilogy, yeah. Part 2's ignored.
Yeah,
Oh, gotcha.
it
I'm
goes
looking
right-
at the I'm looking at the orange line there. I got you now. It goes up and across.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
yeah. There's no
Or
two.
yeah.
This
It goes directly
literally,
from one.
yeah, this literally picks up after he fell off the balcony and disappeared. Now
Yeah.
these things start.
Seeing
So-
all this makes me think, can we just, with Lucasfilm, just forget the sequel trilogy and just kind of pick up with The Mandalorian, and that's our timeline now, and move on forward with a different Star Wars? I mean, we've already written off the Legends books that they had for 20 plus years. So
Don't even get me started on that one.
I don't hate them that much, but I just like what they're doing with The Mandalorian that much better.
Mandalorian is so good.
Oh, trust me, I love what they're doing. I hated that they got rid of the Legends.
Yeah.
I understand it, because if you buy a $4 billion company and you've got pockets of window where you can try and make stories, yeah, I would wipe the slate clean myself.
Yeah.
But it made me angry, and I boycotted everything Star Wars for like 3 years. But what they need to do is, after Halloween ends, they need to have Doctor Strange and the Halloween of Madness, where all the multiverses are then pulled together, and they can make one Michael Myers, or have like Michael Myers fight it out to the death.
Or they could make a pussy edition.
Right?
I would watch the pussy edition. That's
We
right.
know. We expect
Better
nothing
with that.
less. Add a bunny.
Oh, wait.
By the way, since you guys are all horror fans on here, I have to interject with this. If you're ever down in Gatlinburg, the Mountain Mall on the Parkway, which is just this little mall, like a 3 or 4 level mall down the bottom floor. The name of it escapes me, but right there at the corner of the street next to the candy shop is this little bitty record store. And they've got a huge movie section in there, and they have a horror film section that is to die for. I haven't seen this many horror films, this many obscure horror films, and I don't know how long. I mean, it's been since years ago in Louisville. They had a place called Disco Round that had, all kinds of oddball B movies and stuff like that. But I mean, we're talking deep cuts, we're talking indie movies, we're talking stuff that's been way out of print. As an example, the kind of thing that's in there, and I know it's not a horror film, but it's something I never would have imagined finding on DVD. Is the old George Hamilton Zorro the Gay Blade. They had that on DVD in this place. They had Solar Babies was another one that I almost picked up. I got a copy of. I got a copy of Hooper on Blu-ray. I mean, this place, if you're in Gatlinburg and you like horror films, go in and take some money, because you're going to drop it. You're going to find some stuff you never heard of, some stuff you've never seen. The place it's worth the trouble to get there.
You remember Wild and Woolly Video, John?
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah, it's that kind of it's not near as big of a place, but it's that kind of oddball stuff.
They didn't have too much mainstream stuff. It was all the B stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody told me about. They said they pulled the same thing that I do to everybody else with Serbian film. They said, go in and ask for a movie called Salo.
Oh,
You guys,
you
ever seen that?
No.
Holy shit, man! So
There's a lot of poop in it.
A lot of poop and a lot of children, a lot of naked children in this thing. So I'm looking at the cover, and of course there's foreign language on it, but there's a naked chick on the front of it. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll check it out. And then I take it home, and I'm wondering if like family services is going to come in my house and
it's that bad.
I'm like, what is this shit? And so then you think to yourself, okay, finally these kids are going to get back on them. No, the adults torture the shit out of them, and then credits. I'm like, what kind of shit is this?
It's based on a story by the Marquis de Sade, if that gives you any indication what you're in for.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what that picture.
I've never seen that cover. Yeah,
I'm not sure what that is.
That's the movie. Yeah,
we know it's better than Hunters. Hunters got 3.3, and this got 5.9.
This one is very big in the art community, like art house.
Bunch of child predators out there put ratings on this movie and chalked it up to 5.9.
This is where you have to read IMDb. In World War II Italy, 4 fascist libertines round up 9 adolescent boys and girls and subject them to 120 days of physical, mental, and sexual torture.
And poop.
Way more than 9.
There's so much poop in this movie. Yeah. And there's more than 9. Yeah, that's true.
Way more than 9.
I got this movie when Netflix was still. Hi, Michael. Netflix still sent discs. I don't know if they do that in the mail. And I had heard this film's notorious and watched it. And then I was like, you just feel gross after. Like, this is what you just want to shower.
Your name went on a list the minute they
mailed it. Yeah. I'm lucky I could fly anywhere after seeing
All right, Jamie. So here we go. Robert and John hasn't seen one of these, so let's. I want to hear your ratings on this. All right, you have to rate best to last. Right? It's like Marry, Fuck, Kill, but it's 3 movies. All right.
Okay.
Greasy Strangler, Serbian Film, or Salo. Which one? Which one's the top? Which one's the middle? And which one's the bottom out of those 3?
The top is Serbian, the middle is Greasy, and the worst one is Salo.
You think the worst is Salo?
Yeah. I'd rather watch Serbian Film than Salo. I'd rather watch Serbian Film again than Salo.
Well, Serbian Film was a really good film, which I just bought with John at that horror convention. They had my copy doesn't have the busting of the hymen from the sun, but now
it's a fun family film.
Right.
Well, I mean, what a description, right? But
it's the uncut, uncensored version. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, John said, "Man, those guys have some good movies over there." So I went over and they had it on Blu-ray, and it was $10. I told him, I said, "I'll buy it if you guys guarantee me this thing is in full." And they said, "Yes, the kid's getting fucked in the movie." I'm like, "All right, here's your $10 right here."
Your $10. And that's the movie I put as the greatest compared to the other 2. That's how terrible the other 2.
The thing about that Serbian Film, and me and Robert both agree on this, it's a well-made film. Like it's you know, if it didn't have 5 fucked up things on this earth in it, it would be a great film. What am I trying to explain?
It's a good story,
It was put together so good, but
it's well made. There's even a documentary coming out about the making of it. I don't know if that's quite out yet, but I'd be interested in watching the documentary just to get the perspective of the actors doing some of these.
Well, there was supposed to be a part 2 where the bullet went through the kid, went through the wife, but did not go all the way into
the dad.
Yeah, all the way into the dad, and then of course, if you guys remember, the last scene was like, "All right, do the kid first," you know. So I guess Milo was supposed to finish more and go after more of those guys, but just nothing ever came out of it after that. But
they could, it would have been an interesting sequel, but sometimes it's better to just stop when you've made a film like that that's so controversial and garnered so much attention.
Well, on that note, I think I'm going to push a film one more time. I'll play the trailer just because you have to see it. And I now know it's on Amazon Prime in North America.
Okay.
So, Pondo, if you haven't watched it, now you have to. For the Figure Gore, we'll see everybody later.
Can I stop one second? Oh, before Pondo.
I got this.
Razor?
Hell yeah.
Whoa, look at that.
Best razor you could ever get right there. Just look how smooth that is.
All right, Jamie, let's see you do that.
On my mustache?
Well, he just shaved his off so fast.
I'm scared some skin's going to come off if I do that. I might start bleeding. I wanted to just get John to say where we can find where you can purchase his books.
My fiction stuff is all on johncosper.com, and you can find links to all the short films, the world's shortest horror films, Fluffy, Clive the Zombie, all that stuff. johncosper.com.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Yep. Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Gotta plug your stuff.
Yep.
And then you can get Madman Pondo's book there too.
Heck yeah. Well, you can get eatsleepwrestle.com, but you can get there from johncosper.com. Just look for the logo.
All right. Here is that trailer. Again, I'm a little partial because I'm in it, but you enjoy.
911, what is your emergency?
My name is Jean Sutton. I've been kidnapped. I'm in the back of my truck.
Still hasn't sunk it in yet.
Oh, me neither.
interesting, man. Living a night like this since college. I have a great idea.
Come on, let's do it.
I have just the one.
The house was vacant for years.
Tattoo! It keeps spreading.
All I want to know is what happened to